This is the Lunatics and Legends podcast. In this episode, we are going to be discussing things that are for entertainment purposes only. Don't freak out. We're just having fun.
You're running behaviors based on your environment, and those behaviors have become a habit. That habit is unconscious to you. So that's why you can drive home from work and not remember every turn. And that's why people end up in the same job, just a different color of the carpet, same amount of money at the end of the month, even though they've gotten 5 pay raises, same relationship, just a different name, right? Because they think they're not going to do something, and yet they continue to. Drinking shrinks your prefrontal cortex. So your prefrontal cortex is your executive center. That's your conscious mind. That's your long-term planning. That's your reason and logic. It keeps doing what it's been trained to do without you even thinking about it. Your conscious mind is slow and deliberate. Your unconscious mind is super fast and accurate. It happens all the time.
Fred, you are clearly a very intelligent man. You have insane stories and training, and I know we're totally shifting gears right now.
Sure.
However, I do want to talk about the program that you have going on.
Sure.
Because I think your years as a special agent, your years as a personal development coach and facilitator, and all the work that you've done leads you to be in a very specific position, niche, if you will, that you've created something that I want people to go check out.
Yeah. So I think what I do now is I kind of flipped it the other way, right? So when you think about the same lever that they use to trap people, right, is the same lever I use, but I use it to set them free, right?
Right.
So you're running behaviors based on your environment, and those behaviors have become a habit. That habit is unconscious to you. So that's why you can drive home from work and not remember every turn, right?
Right.
That's why you don't even think about taking a shower anymore, right? You just go do it. It's why you drive your car the way you drive, because it's all habit now.
Right.
And so that environment, right, has installed things called choices, right? But the choices have become unconscious. So it's like, hey, I'm not going to have ice cream. So you tell yourself consciously at work, I'm not going to have ice cream tonight for dinner, after dinner, or I'm not going to have a drink today, or I'm not going to whatever. So you've told yourself that 10 times consciously in your mind, and what are you doing after dinner?
You're thinking about it.
You're either thinking about it or doing it.
Fair.
Right? And why is that, right? You didn't choose it. It was already chosen for you. The minute you closed your laptop, the minute you opened the kitchen door, the minute you got in your car, some cue, some trigger, push some dopamine in your system.
Right.
Call it dopamine reward loop. So your reward is the alcohol, your reward is the ice cream, your reward is whatever. And so your brain does not really see I can't, I don't want very well. Because when you say it sees in pictures, it's how we learn to read.
Right.
See Jane run, see, right? Lots of pictures, little words. Then a few less pictures, a few more words, and then do you remember the day that you had to read a book and there were no pictures, right? So it's like the worst day of your life, right? So
Second worst, yeah.
But that's
at that point,
at
sure.
that point, right. So that's how your brain sees. So when you say, I don't want to eat ice cream, what does your brain see?
I want to eat ice cream. Yeah.
So it sees ice cream. I don't want to drink. It sees the drink. Then you have a reticular activating system that filters out anything that's not known to you, that's not safe. Right? A period of habits. And so it filters out anything else other than the ice cream or the beer or the drink or whatever. So you get set up, and you can't beat it with willpower, because willpower is a depleting asset, depletes out over time. And that's why people end up in the same job, just a different color of the carpet, same amount of money at the end of the month, even though they've gotten 5 pay raises, same relationship, just a different name, right? Because they think they're not going to do something, and yet they continue to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So willpower is the same mistake that the CIA made, right? Trying to force a mind head on. See, and if you don't force it, you redesign the conditions around it, then the behavior changes itself. And then the behavior operates on autopilot. So I do it with alcohol performance, with high performers, right? It's the same principle, right? It's the same principle that spies use, only I point it toward freedom instead of a trap. So the CEO 90 program, right, is a way for people that have the performance variable is now alcohol. So it quietly costs them things, right? It's not like you woke up one day and said, I drank too much last night. I never want to drink again. If you did that, most people would just stop drinking, right?
Right.
But that doesn't happen. What happens? I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink today because it became a habit. It started off as the celebration. I closed a big deal.
Right.
It started off as the, hey, I'm going to the airport. I'm going to go to the lounge, have a drink before my flight. It started off as the drinks on the golf course. It started off in different ways, right? And then because of your environment, right, especially as a high achiever, right, it's a stress reliever, it's a relaxation, it's a stress relief, it's a social lubricant, whatever the mechanism is.
Right.
You developed a habit over time, and now it's just unconscious. It's what you do.
Yeah.
But now it's costing you something.
Right.
It's costing you the deals. It's costing you some, you come home and the wife's like, who's showing up tonight? The kids don't know. Your partners don't know, right? You're kind of no longer the life of the party. They're like, hey, he's had one too many, right? All of those things start to happen.
Right.
And it wasn't happened overnight. It just happened slowly over time. And so when you wake up and you go, man, and then you say, so I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm not going to drink on this trip this time. I'm not going, and then what are you doing? Drinking on the trip. So from the 30,000 foot view, the NIH says that or American Medical Association says about 30 million Americans have alcohol use disorder. And they classify it as mild, moderate, severe. So if you're in the severe category, that's like the alcoholic, right? The person that needs recovery, they're like a 6+.
Yeah.
So where do the other 80% go?
To the bar.
To the bar, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But they're like, I don't want to go to the bar anymore. And so CE 90, Clear Edge 90, is about getting your edge back, living an alcohol-free advantage life. Meaning that you get your edge back that you used to have. That's what put you in the position in the first place, was because you had an edge. You were a hard worker. You did the things. You did the tough things to become a lawyer, a doctor, a high achiever, an entrepreneur, a business owner, right?
Yeah.
And so now you're having, 2 high balls between board meetings, right? And you can say whatever you want, but it's not the same as testing whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can say I'm okay when I have my 2 or 3 drinks, but you don't test that way.
Yeah.
It's a bullshit line, right? So the idea is for the 90-day program is to change the environment, change the behavior, right? Keep the reward. The reward's just different.
Yeah.
And then what ends up happening at the end of 90 days is you're just a person who doesn't drink. You're not a person who doesn't want to drink.
Well, and this is a way for people to get away from alcohol addiction without having to hit rock bottom.
That's right.
Right. And granted, I've been sober 3.5 years. I did not have to hit what other people's rock bottoms are.
Right.
I'd have a couple drinks and then I'd black out, and I don't want to be that guy anymore. Right. It was fun when I was in my teens. It was fun when I was in my 20s, but it is time for me to get serious about life. And granted, I hit my rock bottom and was super embarrassed and didn't want to ever do that again. And so I gave it up because of that. But you have been sober this whole time that I've known you, and you're able to be around people that drink and it doesn't trigger you at all. Like, clearly you figured something out, and you do have a history with alcoholism.
Yes.
And you've survived all that. And like, I think it's amazing that you've taken your life's experiences and created a whole system for people to go through if they're looking to sober up without having to hit the rock bottom. I personally was depressed and super embarrassed because both of you, you guys have been instrumental in the changes that I've had in my life. Anybody who's curious can research why. However, you guys have both coached me, and I was feeling like such a piece of shit letdown. I don't want people to have to hit that rock bottom. So if somebody is going, you know what, the alcohol is getting out of hand, how do they look you up? How do they get into your program?
So just go to clearedge90.com. And what's interesting, we have a little assessment there. It takes 5 or 8 minutes. And this isn't my assessment that I made up, right?
Right.
So the whole program is based on 30 peer-reviewed clinical studies, right? So everything that we're doing is based on neuroscience, based on evidence, empirical data. And so there was these two guys, they came up with this assessment, and basically what you're going to do is self-respond to some questions. And it's going to give you exactly what it's costing you financially, physically, emotionally, relationship. It's going to tell you where you're operating on a scale of 1 to 100.
Yeah.
And then if you self-report honestly, you're going to get an honest report. And then you can look at it and go, if you're scoring like, let's say 50 or 60 overall after you look at all 4 areas, what would it be like to operate at 90 or 100%?
Yeah.
Right? What would it look like for your family, for your self-esteem, for your money, your pocketbook?
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, it costs you money. You don't think it does because you have success.
Yeah.
You can point to your car, you can point to your bank account, you can point to your job, but yet at the same token, it's costing you something.
Yeah.
But you're not a candidate for AA. You're not a candidate for Freedom by Design. Yep, and there's a little assessment bar right there. And so you're not it's not AA, right? It's not a 12-step program. You don't have to stand in front of people and you put your label on yourself. That's not what it's about. It's not about going to a recovery center. It's about those 80% of people that know that alcohol is costing them something. They don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
So I would submit, because of the training that you did with us, when you had that moment, you had some tools that you could use.
For sure.
Do you see what I mean? That's a difference. And so what we do is I give those people the same tools you had, but they're at a different, it's just a different angle that you're coming at it.
Right.
And you go, and then they go, oh yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then you're just a person who doesn't drink. See, most people think they have to have the drink, as an example. Well, if I need it to relax. Well, yeah, drinking does interfere with your cortisol level. The problem is your cortisol level bounces back when you stop drinking. So you're paying for the stress relief in spades the next day. So what we find with people is their sleep becomes better, so they feel better. They're the same person at 9 a.m. that they are at 9 p.m.
Right.
So when they're at the board meeting, when they're closing the deal, you have an edge against your competition.
Right. And
everybody else is drinking and you're not. Sorry, you're going to have a quicker mind. You're going to be quicker on your feet. You're going to think clearer. You're going to be much quicker on your feet.
Right.
If that's important to you.
Well, and like, let's go back in history, right? You watch the show Mad Men.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's smoking cigarettes and drinking, right? And you're seeing a big shift nowadays in executive C-suite people that they're starting to veer away from alcoholism as well, or alcohol rather, because they want that edge that you're talking about.
So think about this. It used to be, hey, a couple of drinks a day is no big deal.
Right.
They've walked that back.
Right.
The Surgeon General, the NIH, everybody has walked that back.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter. They've been able to relate 20% of cancer patients to alcohol use. I mean, the list goes on about how bad it is for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Now, if you have 2 drinks a month, nobody cares, right?
Right.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person that's using it, right, as a stress relief, as a social lubricant, and all the things that you just said.
My problem is, though, is if I have 2 drinks, I'm going to have 20.
Right, of course, because that's where you go.
Right.
So the idea is, so what happens, and they've been able to demonstrate this, University of Illinois did an MRI study, and the drinking shrinks your prefrontal cortex. So your prefrontal cortex is your executive center. That's your conscious mind. That's your long-term planning. That's your reason and logic. That's your goal setting. That's where you hear the voice, I am. And it operates deliberately, right? It's a deliberate operation. Alcohol shrinks the prefrontal cortex. So the very thing that could keep you from drinking is the very thing you're turning off by drinking.
Weird. So it becomes an addiction, huh?
Well, and I don't know if it's an addiction as so much as it's just a habit.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, so if you could put in a new pattern, a new neural pathway, if you will, that produces a different habit, then it'll just run you on automatic. And you won't even think about drinking. You'll just run your life that way because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole idea behind the program. It's not the willpower, white knuckle, stress yourself out about not drinking. That's not going to work because willpower will fail.
And it's like crash dieting. Like
Right.
you change the lifestyle, you change everything.
Right. It's not the diet.
Right.
It's the lifestyle, right? And it's not, so I could go to the gym every day, but if I don't do anything while I'm there, who cares?
Right.
So the idea is, hey, if I can start to, so what we do is we put people, first thing I do is make them consciously aware.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting here listening to this and someone says, well, how would I know? Here's what I would suggest. Count the drinks that you have every week for a month. because everybody goes, I just have a couple glasses of wine.
Right.
I just have a couple beers.
Oh, I would lose count.
Right. Right. But because when you consciously write it down, you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Right. It's like when we do our wealth building seminar. First thing I have them do is write down everything they spend their money on in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And we come back for the next iteration, they're horrified
Yeah.
at what they spend money on. Yeah. It's the same thing with drinking. You track your drinking for a week or a month, you're going to be horrified.
Right.
And then maybe you'll be, because what I do is the first few weeks of the program is to become consciously aware of all that.
Yeah.
What's the cue? What's the trigger that gets you going? What's the routine that you have? What's the reward? And we're gonna track all of that. You're gonna write them down, right? And we're gonna track all of that stuff. We're gonna track your sleeping. I mean, and the reason that I work with high performers is because they're used to doing hard things.
Right.
Because I want to do that too, but I say I want you to track your sleep hours. Oh, that's hard. Yeah. Okay, this is not going to be for you, right? So
Right.
you see what I mean? Like there's activity that you have to do. You have to do your part. I'll do mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we track all that stuff and we start to see the marked improvement. And the truth is in the first 30 days, you're going to start thinking clearer, sleeping better, feeling better. Then the next 30 days, you're going to start running some habits that you haven't run before. And then the last 30 days, you're operating as though you never drank.
Right. And it's that chipping away at the perfect self, right? Your volumetric efficiency. If you're pulling 1% every week, well, now your volumetric efficiency is at 60% and you're trash and you're trashed, right? And I would say that anybody who's even questioning it, it's free. Go check out
get the assessment.
Look at the assessment.
And the truth is some people will call me and they're really a candidate for AA or recovery.
Right.
And so I'll give them those resources.
Right.
The first few people I had call me, I'm like, oh, here you go. I go, you're not a candidate for this.
Yeah.
But you are a candidate for this. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? No. Okay, here's some resources.
Right. Because you actually care about people becoming sober. You're not choosing
You're not
this.
just saying no just to say no.
Right. I'm not saying no. Right. And
I meant the assessment is free, by the way. I don't want anybody going like, you bastards lied to us.
Yeah. No, and so if you're not a candidate, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Right. But if you are, I'll say that too. But there's a lot of people that, so like I go to recovery, right? So there's a lot of people that come to the room and they do some stuff and then I never see them again, but they're still not drinking.
Right.
Why? They found a way to break it up through that model.
Mm-hmm.
And now, so they weren't really what I would call, quote, an alcoholic or, severe case. And so that's what I started noticing. I've been for over 44 years is that people do that. I'm like, why is that? What's happening? And then I started looking at my Army training and human behavior, and then all the time I've been spending in neuroscience and I'm like, there's something here,
right,
that I'm an expert in, that I could help people in. And I think that working with high achievers is great because they're willing to do the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do.
Right.
Like I'll work with anybody, but you got to be willing to do the work. If you don't do it, because it's you got to do the work.
Yeah.
I can give you all the information, all the help, all the neuroscience, all the things to do, the exercises to do, the things I want you to do. We can have the coaching sessions, we can have the one-on-ones, all of that. But if you don't go do it, it doesn't matter.
You can build them a Porsche, but they got to put the gas in it.
Yeah. So if I go to work out with Brandon every day, right? And I stand there and look at Brandon, I don't think I'm going to get his arms, right?
Right.
But
Reality, yeah.
I got to do the work, right? I got to do all the stuff, even though I don't think I can. But if I'm going to go do it anyway, just because I want his arms, then I got to do what he does.
Right.
And so you got to do the work.
That's what I'm saying. As far as like people might be on that cusp of greatness, achieving the things that they want to achieve financially or relationship wise, emotionally, all the things, just maybe even learning to love themselves. And this absolutely is a game changer because like I said, with my life, like I never would be here right now if I was still drinking.
Right. You would be doing something else.
Right. And it was getting to a point because again, of all the TBIs that I have, mortar rounds and all that such, I would go out and I'd just be like, yeah, I'm going to have a couple beers. And then I'd be like, you know what? If I don't shoot whiskey or Jägermeister, I'll end up having fun, right? So I'll just take a couple shots of tequila and just loosen things up and have a good, happy time. And then I'd be like, I can drink whiskey and I'm blacked out, right? And I got tired of waking up and going, oh God. Well, A, I'm not in jail, so that's cool. But B, what the hell did I do last night?
Well, if you
And
look
who
at
do I
it-
owe apologies to?
Right. Well, no, if you look at a human, their most productive time is right after they wake up.
Yeah.
That's when you're like when you start taking a shower and getting going, your brain is going.
Right.
And so when you drink, it compresses that,
Yep.
right? And so that's the problem. You're not the same person at 9 a.m. that you are at 9 p.m. when you drink. There's 1,000 pieces of evidence to prove that.
Yeah.
You don't feel that way initially. You feel like, oh, it helped me become social, or it helped me do this, or it helped me do that. And it probably did at the beginning. But now the reward is what is causing the damage.
Yeah.
And so, but your brain doesn't know the difference. It keeps doing what it's been trained to do without you even thinking about it. Your conscious mind is slow and deliberate. Your unconscious mind is super fast and accurate. It happens all the time. So within 200 milliseconds of you thinking something, your brain's already, if your cue is closing my laptop at work, in 200 milliseconds, your subconscious already got dopamine. It's already anticipating the drink. If you use willpower and don't take that drink, your body feels like it's in withdrawal.
Yeah.
And then you're craving it more and more, but I'm going to willpower it out. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not about white knuckling. It's not about willpowering out. It's about living your life in alcohol-free advantage,
Yeah.
right? Where you have the advantage of living the life that you are meant to live without the performance value of alcohol. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Hit him with the web address again, Fred.
Yep. So clearedge90.com. Get your edge back.
Awesome.
All
Fred,
right, man.
thank you for coming on,
guys.
brother.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
Fred,
and having
yeah.
me on. I appreciate the debate.
Absolutely. It was great times.
Thanks, man.
Are you tired of big corporations farming you for views? So are we. We're just two poor guys that are trying to put together a podcast. So if you can give us some help by doing a like, share, comment, subscribe, or save, it helps us trend in the algorithms. Thanks.